Yeah, it's certainly funny when things enter into the zeitgeist. I've got two cruises out there that people are saying are the next poop cruise. Yeah, poop cruises everywhere right now. Also, we have a Carnival ship that was somewhat held hostage being set free. And ducks. Can we talk about ducks? We've got one person that's upset that somebody found the ducks that they hid. Who's right, who's wrong on this one? It's a little crazy. Yeah, all that and more on today's episode. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loco. Welcome to the Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face on a Wednesday the 9th of July, 2025. And well, I'm at the mouth of Glacier Bay up in Alaska, Glacier Bay National Park. Later on today, we're going to see all of the glaciers of Glacier Bay. There is nothing better than scenic Alaskan cruising. Well, there's probably other things that are better than that, but I really do love it. I hope you're enjoying the view, and I'll certainly be showing you more from Glacier Bay. But let's work through some of these cruise news stories. Do you remember the Carnival cruise ship that was potentially delayed, leaving a shipyard with the work on it unfinished? Yes, I'm talking about the Carnival Liberty. The big part of the story was that workers went on strike at the shipyard where they were working on the Carnival Liberty, and they weren't going to do any more work. And beyond that, they weren't going to allow the Carnival Liberty to leave that shipyard to get the work finished. It caused the cancellation of a Carnival cruise. Thousands of cruise passengers canceled. And well, the ship was able to leave the shipyard, made its way to another shipyard, and now the work is done and it's been set free. I want to be free. Shout out Ludacris. Yeah, so now that ship is free and the sailings on the Carnival Liberty will resume. But it wasn't without impact. A lot of Carnival cruisers impacted by the cancellation of the Carnival Liberty. Today's episode is sponsored by Babel. Babel is one of the top language learning apps in the world, and it's a great app for people who travel, people who cruise. Their lessons were developed by real language teachers, and they use a method of using conversation, everyday conversation. You can start learning a new language in just 3 weeks. I continue to try to learn French. I think I'm getting better. I'm on to some more advanced stuff. Now I'm going to try to make, a hotel reservation or maybe get some breakfast. Let's go through a couple of them. First, we're going to see if I can reserve a double room in French. This is what it sounds like.
J'ai réservé une chambre double.
Now I get to say it. Je réserve en chambre double. Hey, I got it right. How about let's ask for some breakfast.
À quelle heure est le petit déjeuner?
À quelle heure est le petit déjeuner? It's just that simple. You go through these lessons, you learn conversational languages. Another cool thing about Babel is they have a 20-day money-back guarantee. And look, you can try it for a discounted rate. If you click the link in the description or scan the QR code here, you can get 60% off of your Babel subscription. Thank you, Babel, for I guess I should say merci beaucoup. Thank you, Babel, for sponsoring today's episode. All right, I guess we can continue this conversation talking about cancellations. Man, 40 cruises canceled on 2 Norwegian cruise ships coming up in the 2026-2027 season. Travel agents and now passengers have been notified that sailings on the Norwegian Breakaway and the Norwegian Prima between November 2026 and March 2027, well, they've been canceled for fleet redeployment. Everybody that's been canceled, they will receive a full monetary refund. Anything that they paid for the cruise, they will get 100% refund. And then they will also get a 10% future cruise credit. Fortunately, this is way out into the future. And certainly if you've had your heart set on these sailings for the Breakaway or the Prima, you could be bummed out. Coming on the heels of those cancellations, NCL says now that the Norwegian Breakaway will be sailing from New Orleans and the Norwegian Prima will be sailing from Puerto Rico. It's an interesting thing in the cruise business. We see Norwegian maybe do this more than anybody else, but certainly all of the cruise lines do this. I feel like they look at the projections for the bookings and other factors out into the future and they say, well, maybe we got the cruise ship and the itineraries not in the best optimized position. And unfortunately for the people that have those ships booked, they're impacted, but nobody else is impacted. And so the cruise lines are able to change change where they have certain cruise ships to optimize their potential earnings and their potential, operational efficiencies, all of those kind of things. But certainly we see Norwegian quite okay pulling the trigger on cancellations and redeployment, and it certainly happened for the NCL Breakaway and the NCL Prima. All right, let's talk about poop cruise. Just last month, Netflix released the new documentary that kind of chronicled what happened on the Carnival Triumph, 10, 15 years ago, where an engine fire caused the power to go out on the cruise ship, the Triumph, while it was floating around in the Gulf of Mexico at that time, and people were impacted. They had no air conditioning, they had no ability to go to the bathroom, and it kind of became like Lord of the Flies. Well, I don't think anybody went after it, but it became one of those kind of deteriorated situations where people had all kinds of discomfort. And now, because it's re-entered into the consciousness of the culture in the last month, seemingly anytime something happens to a cruise ship, it gets labeled, is this the next poop cruise? And we got two examples of that right now. This one's played out pretty recently. We've got Royal Caribbean's Serenade of the Seas being stuck in Vancouver. The trouble for Serenade of the Seas started just a few days ago on Sunday, July the 6th. They had the engine issue. They returned to Vancouver. They're working on the ship while they're in Vancouver. Guests are notified that they're going to miss one of their ports, Icy Strait Point. And I guess by the end of the day on the 7th, they actually did leave Vancouver to go on with their Alaskan cruise. And so far, so good. Not a poop cruise scenario, but it's wild in the media that some of the writers out there is like, is this the next poop cruise? Again, once it's in the consciousness, it's everywhere. But wait, there's more. That's not the only cruise ship that's having poop cruise-esque type scenarios. This one may be even more so. Talking about the celebrity Infiniti. They were docked at their port in Turkey, getting ready to go on a great Mediterranean cruise, when a small electrical fire in the engine room knocked out power to the cruise ship, basically making it where that cruise ship could not leave port. So you've got passengers stranded on board because of an electrical fire in the engine room. But look, all's well is going to be in well. Of course, they're right in the port, so it's not like they're stuck out in the middle of the sea and they have to be towed back. But as of right now, they've spent at least 2 days stuck at port. They do predict that they will be able to make their final port of call in Athens, but their whole itinerary is all jacked up. They're going to miss a lot of their cruise ports. Of course, celebrity's going to compensate the people that are stuck. But again, the thing it happens in cruising. We see this all the time. Accidents happen, unplanned things mechanically happen, weather happens. There's a variety of things that can impact a cruise. But it's so funny now that anything that seems to be impacting a cruise is being called back to the poop cruise. The poop cruise! I don't think there'll ever be another poop cruise, but I guess because of the documentary, it's top of mind. Top of mind. Now, I do want to mention that some cruisers on celestial cruises are getting an interesting piece of documentation about their upcoming cruise. Celestial Cruises, a Greek cruise line. They cruise primarily around Greece. And as we know, Greece has enacted a new rule that's going to tax cruisers that are coming to the different ports in Greece, Mykonos, Santorini. And we speculated that the cruise lines would just eat the cost, particularly for cruises this year, because it just went into effect on July the 1st, and not a lot of time for cruise lines to make sure that that cost is included in their fare. Well, Celestial, they're just going to put a line item on your bill. And starting on July the 21st, if you are on a Celestial cruise and you're cruising around Greece and you're impacted by the new Greece tax, well, they're just gonna charge you for it. They're not going to try to eat the cost themselves. This is true for most things. Whatever unexpected cost hits a business, it usually trickles down to the consumer. Now, honestly, it's not a ton of money. The tax is going to vary based on the destination. Santorini and Mykonos is going to be about 20 euros per passenger, $23. And then some of the minor ports, they may charge you $1. So again, it's not like it's not an arm and a leg, but it is kind of like, the death by 1,000 cuts, $20 here, $20 there. Everybody's got to get their cut of the cruise money. And certainly for Celestial Cruises, they're saying, well, that $20 coming out of your pocket is coming out of your pocket. Look, there's a lady out there that laid out money to hide ducks on a cruise ship, and she's upset because people found them. Let me share with you this comment right here. There was a lady, Lynn, who posted on an NCL Viva cruise group, if you see a duck and it says live through travel game only or states it's for a game, do not take the duck. I put hours and money into a game set up for my travel group. I had 89 decks on decks 7 through 8 and only 9 were found. They were only hidden in great spots, not visible for less than 1 hour. We all put up money to find the most ducks from our group, and someone took 80 ducks. So essentially, there's the big phenomena right now where a variety of people bring ducks on board. They hide them like an Easter egg hunt. And normally, if you see a duck hidden on a cruise ship, you can take it. That's the whole concept. Strangers hide ducks and strangers find ducks. Well, no, not for Lynn. Lynn wanted to have her own duck hiding game. So if you found one of Lynn's ducks, you had to examine it. You had to understand that it was a part of the game for her travel group, and then you had to put it back. Who's right and who's wrong here? Should you respect Lynn's special hidden travel duck, or should you say finders, keepers, losers, weepers? I don't know what kind of money. Could you imagine, like, if they all put, like, everybody put in $100 and whoever found the most ducks? Look, this is a cautionary tale, but it's a cautionary tale for people that want to use hiding ducks for their own special private event. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. See a duck, take a duck. That's the rule of the sea. I think that's a maritime law. I don't know. But anyways, do you think that if you find a duck, you should examine it closely and put it back if it says it's for a travel game? Or is it finders, keepers, losers, weepers? Look, that's everything going on in cruising. I gotta see the glaciers here in Glacier Bay National Park. And it's about that time. Look, there's nothing left to do. And I've got some more guest answers today. So it's time for you to get up. Get up. We'll see you on the Lido. Bye.